So Sunday, day 3 of open source, day 2 if you're counting from a 0 index. But I wanted to walk around a little bit in the morning to just kind of see how things are and enjoy some of this weather here where we don't have an extreme heat warning like I do back home in St. Louis. My dad and I were walking around, meeting people, talking to people, and you run into some crazy things like not just exhibitors, but like this was a SpaceX engineer had a little mini dishy mounted on his hat, spinning around. Engineers do weird things sometimes just to see if they can do it or to keep their brain flexible. But I also walked by the Robot Wars display that they had there. Throughout the day, I kept hearing things crunch into each other, and I wanted to see one at some point. But every time that was happening, there was a huge crowd, and I got to see the debris here. But also, just walking around, there are some really fun little things like, somebody said, let's put tracks on an old Mac and let it drive around. And you have that. This is Skytech Electronics, some old computers that did some funky things there. Some fun ways to kind of bring new life maybe into a build, an old Mac or something that wouldn't work anymore. I also saw, this was a fun little display, a bunch of ping pong balls. I don't know if this is the world's largest ping pong ball LED display, but it was definitely the largest one I've seen. And I am totally going to butcher the name, but Thiesemonian, maybe? But anyway, I'm terrible with names. Just walking around, some of the other people you see, there was this person wearing a CRT monitor on their head, making them look like something from Skibidi Toilet. There was also the soldering learning stations. This was really cool to see. There were a few of these around the place, repair stations and places where you could use a soldering iron to put together your badge. Or some people, it's like the first time they ever soldered something was here at Open Sauce. And that's cool to show them, like, it is not an intimidating skill. It can be tough sometimes, but starting with a simple project is a cool way to get started. And there were plenty of areas like that around the floor here. Also, all the crazy things you see. There was a chicken, just like the Mac, a chicken on tracks or a chicken on a robot thing, fighting with this Roomba with a little duster. And that was also near this Tinker Co-op or Tinker Coop, I guess. I don't know which one it's supposed to be, but this was a fortune-telling chicken. And I actually had some chickens for a while and got to know them pretty well. But this one would spit out a fortune in an egg, but it didn't work the first time. That's half of engineering, is, I guess, making things work that break. That's not always the most glamorous part, but it's definitely awesome to see that they got it working again. Got the fortune told, and it told me to look left and I'll see a goat, and I did. I looked left, I saw a goat. Another thing that I did today was I signed up for it this year. I forgot about it last year. There's this Creator Hot Wheels drag racing thing, and I raced in it, and my dad didn't have this part on the camera, but I was trying to learn how this little one worked, the one that I was in with the little American flag on it, and it was very peppy. And the first time that I was kind of going to the starting line, I just pressed the gas and flipped right up, and I landed on my back. No harm, no foul, but that was pretty fun. But racing around was really fun. The people that built these things, they were all great to talk to and fun to race with. Nobody got hurt, so it all ends well that happened. And I finished third, so I got 3 extra coins or whatever they were doing for the prizes for this thing. There were just, everywhere you look, every single booth, and you can go back to the same booth and see something different that you missed last time. But like my wife, who loves sewing, and my mom, who loves sewing, would probably enjoy this booth. There was also another section for racing. This was like I don't know. It's a racing sim, but it's like they built this cool platform that lets you feel a little bit like you're in a car. Obviously, it's a lot different when you're being smashed against your seat instead of just using kind of the physics of a platform that rotates. But I raced in this, and I did kind of okay. I had the experience. I knew from playing on little Xbox control pads that the inputs have to be kind of measured. But I could not get a feel for the brake pedal. So there was only one lap that I actually finished without spinning out. One time I hit the wall even. But it was fun, and once I got the hang, I did do okay. My goal was to beat 2 minutes because I didn't want to embarrass myself. And I did do that, and I ended up just above Colin Furs. So sorry, Colin, to knock you out of that spot, but it was a very tight race. Meeting people and talking to people is really, for every open source conference I used to go to, the best parts of it are always the interactions you have. I met Wang, who makes the most awesome Raspberry Pi camera equipment, and I've talked to him on Twitter for years. I finally met him in person here. That was an awesome thing to be able to do. My dad and I, between both of us, we signed a lot of badges, and it was great to meet many people that watch the channels and that talk about radio and talk about Raspberry Pis and Ansible and home labs and all this stuff. It's really the best part of it is all the people. And we also at this point walked into the Creator Museum, and I didn't even know where it was until I was talking to somebody and they said, oh, the Creator Museum, it's that way. So we went in there, and then I was reminded of the fact that my project did not get finished in time for open sauce. But, you know, that's the past. But we got to see the main stage area, which is pretty cool. I didn't see any panels, so I'm glad I'm a Sauce Plus subscriber. You should go check out sauceplus.com and consider subscribing, because there's a lot of good content there already from even the past years of open sauce. But then, you know, to finish out the weekend, I went back around and saw a couple more things that I hadn't gone down one of the aisles. And this aisle had some cool stuff. There's a magic chessboard, which was a cool project. You know, the information is on your screen here if you want to look up more about it, but the chessboard was run by an electromagnet that was running on an old like 3D printer XY axis thing. And you know, we got to talk through some of the engineering challenges of making it so that it works, making it so it works for a long period of time, which is a little different because heat becomes an issue. And, you know, talking about the code and what makes it work. And another, you know, this machine also, throughout the weekend, a lot of these things, parts on it start failing. The Boba Mabob machine, and it was cool to talk about like some of the things that they modified, and seeing how, just like in real factories, there's always little modifications that you do on the line once you realize like this isn't falling the right way, or you know, 10% of the time this happens and we don't want that to happen. So cool stuff. And one of the things, like I was about to go and I saw this finally. My son had even said like, Dad, do you think there's going to be a Rubik's Cube machine like there was last year? And I was like, I think I saw that on the list, but I hadn't seen it. And I was like, well, I guess it's maybe not here or something. But as I was walking out, I saw this thing. And this is the world record fastest Rubik's Cube solver from some students at Purdue. And we got to talk for a little bit about how it works and the mechanism and everything. But I'll let this play out because it is so fast. I'm going to do it in real time here. And then again in slow motion, and even on my iPhone slow motion, you cannot keep up with this thing. It is, and this is not as fast as it can go. It can actually go a little bit faster, but they were power constrained here, which is a little scary with how fast that goes. You can hear my throat is going out, but you know, at the end of the day, here's the final race results for that creator race. Find your favorite creator and see how they did. But all the volunteers who helped run this thing, all the staff, all the exhibitors who came, and all the general guests who came made this what it is. And I'm excited for next year. I want to be back next year. That's going to conclude my little vlogs for open sauce. And I think I'm going to get some sleep and get my throat not to be hurting quite as much. So thanks for watching. Subscribe to the second channel for more crazy and quick videos like this.